This is exercise 1-3-1, and this will also cover really the concepts for 1-3-2 as well. So in this exercise, we're going to be using non-chord tones, but the basis is still going to be a chord tone melody. So we're going to create a chord tone melody just like we did in exercises 1-2-1 and -2. But then what we're going to do is look at how can we connect those chord tones using neighbor tones and passing tones. So if you look at my requirements for this exercise, I want you to use at least 2 neighbor tones and at least 4 passing tones, and then 1 bar with just chord tones. So we're not going to be writing the chord tones underneath like we did in the previous exercise, but those are pretty strict requirements. However, what that does is that gets you to really think about what you're doing, where can you connect them. You know, to have 4 passing tones in the entire melody, you could have multiple passing tones in each bar except for the 1 bar that has only chord tones, or you could try to do 4 passing tones in 1 bar by using something like a scale or something. So let's go ahead and work out this exercise. So as usual, we've got a 1 chord here, a 4 chord. I'm not going to list out all the notes. You can just go through, look at the notes that you can use, and we'll work from there. So this first one, we know we've got, we can use a C. Why don't we just start on C? And then we can move up to an F here. Now here we've got 2 chord tones, and we can try to connect these chord tones. Now in order to connect them, we're going to have to shorten the length of the notes in order to make them fit within this space of a half note. So we could have 2 quarter notes or 4 eighth notes. And in this case, in order to connect these with passing tones, we have to shorten it up enough to get 4 notes in here. So C, D, E, or sorry, correction, 3 notes in here. So the best way to do this, I think, probably would be to have a quarter note there and then to split this up into eighth notes. So we got D, E, F. Now up to the F, so now we've got 2 passing tones, so that's good. Those are out of the way. We only need 2 more passing tones and then 2 neighbor tones throughout the entire thing, plus an entire chord tone bar. So what we can do once again is try to have similar motives in these different bars. And the best way to do that would be to look at, okay, what do we need to do to match that? Well, the best way to do that is rhythm. And this is where using something like Sibelius, you can start to get good working procedures. So I have no problems with copying and pasting a bar in order to get certain aspects of that original melody or harmony or whatever you're using, and then change them around. We're trying to work as quickly as possible, because when you start to work quickly, that's when you get into the state of flow and your ideas come quicker. So now, obviously, an F is not a chord tone over the 1 here, but what we can do is we can add some non-chord tones, so we can have a neighbor tone. And why don't we do something to change it up? So we'll drop that down. So now it is generally the same rhythm, but the shape is very different. And now we've used 1 neighbor tone. So let's listen to this so far. You know what? I don't know why that's so quiet. Let's just make it forte just so we can hear it. Okay, so you can see it's got a similar feel, but still a slightly different feel. So now we've got to get an entire bar with just chord tones. And hint, hint, that could be the last bar. That'll make it probably pretty easy. So why don't we just go ahead and start doing that. So now we have to get 2 more passing tones and 1 more neighbor tone. So here we're looking at a 5-6-4 chord going to a 5-5-3 chord So the 6/4 is an embellishment if you just listen to that. That's what that sounds like. So we are going to start as if it's a 1 chord in terms of the actual notes that we use. Okay, so why don't we start on the E? And then now we're not limited to the same rhythms, so we can use 16th notes if we want to try to fit things in here. But you know what? That may not work. Oh, actually, yeah, why don't we do this? Okay, so what I did here was I added some passing tones, and I added the 16th notes so that we could get down to this G right here. So really, if you were to look at this as a chord tone melody, this would just be an E and a G. And we've embellished it quite a bit. So we got E, and then here the neighbor tone is the A, G, back to a G there, and then just a chord tone melody. So let's listen to what this sounds like. That's pretty good. I don't know if I like that this goes up again. I feel like it should probably go down maybe here. Let's hear it. And you know what? I think it's a little bit boring that we're just using quarter notes here. But what we can do is we can take this original rhythm there we go. Something like that. So now we've got that original rhythm, so we're using the motive once again, but slightly changed. We're moving down here, and then we go to a big, hurrah ending with the C. So let's listen once more. And that's basically how you add non-chord tones to a chord tone melody.